Would it be too bold a claim to say that the Carver is the best all-around small utility vehicle in Scrap Mechanic? Well, you could bomb with it, you could potato gun with it, you could do recon with it, and you can haul all kinds of cargo with it. If you're like me and you have that do more with less mentality, then you're going to love this showcase, where we talk about all the utility in the Carver platform of vehicles. So stick around if you want to see what the mind share here at Scrap Mechanic Labs has been able to create, right after these messages. Welcome back to Scrap Mechanic Labs. I'm your host, Chief Engineer, and today we're going to be talking about the Carver. The Carver is a multi-purpose use vehicle. We're going to go over 5 points primarily. We're going to go into detail into how it's built to be balanced, how the vehicle is scalable with its thrusters, how it comes standard with 4 potato cannons, and how it has a simple control system, and you can build it along the way while you're on your survival adventures. But first, let's start off with built to be balanced. What does that mean? Well, it's been really popular to glitch weld stuff together, and although it's convenient in one sense of getting things to fit that normally wouldn't fit well together, there are consequences to building that way. You're going to have constantly colliding parts in your vehicle. And I've mentioned this before in previous videos, but what that means is it could cause your game to crash, or it could cause your multiplayer sessions with other people to crash, as the game on your computer who's hosting may be trying to figure out what's going on with that other creation that someone spawned in when these parts are occupying the same space. So for me, I try to run a community that's got plenty of people in it. That means we play games with plenty of people in them, and I try to limit that as best as I can by trying to make the builds as less collision-y as possible. Speaking of less collision-y, I got a little bit off track, but let's go to built to be balanced. Now, the Carver here, this one is set up as sort of a fuel carrier. The yellow pipes here indicate parts that you might want to extend or make shorter in order to balance out the weight of the vehicle. Right now, this vehicle will lift up perfectly level, just like that. And depending on your frame rates, that's still an issue too. When I'm at 300 frames, this thing hovers perfectly. But now that I just clicked on OBS, it's got it down to 40 frames, and it's not hovering like it normally would, but your mileage may vary depending on your frame rates for how you want to calibrate your thrusters. Why is this so important, and the positioning of this? Well, the built to be balanced philosophy could not be possible without help like other creators like Sir Leon Jellyfish, who helped me to discover this design here, where if you create the X pattern like we have here on this open top model, which is specifically set up this way so that you can see, you're balancing out the thrusters, normally uneven 2x2 top, with a diamond type position, which allows for less thrusters to be used in this vehicle. The side thrusters are also pushed out and angled. That's not for looks, that has to do with balancing. This whole pod, the 4 thrusters in the middle and the 2 thrusters on the sides, they are all arranged so that their center of mass is as closely packed and as well balanced as possible in the vehicle. As you add other components to the vehicle, you can swap out different things depending on the need of your trip. This is the cargo aspect we're kind of getting into now, but that ties in a very important way with the built to be balanced philosophy. An example of the utility of the built to be balanced philosophy here is we have some cargo crates We have seats, additional seats, and these yellow pipes indicate the slight modifications that needed to be made in order to make the vehicle function in this configuration. As you can see, it's well balanced. We could fly it around, we could do cargo runs, and that is yippee skippy. I love it. I love the versatility of it, but let me not get off track. Any more built to be balanced ideas? Pretty much you want to keep an eye for the yellow pipes here. They are the ones that indicate the scalability of the vehicle. Now, you could add a second fuel tank if you need more range. You could have all fuel tanks all around it if you're really feeling exciting. And I think that's pretty much the built to be balanced. Now, anything else that you've put on top of the Carver here, because see how these crates are a little higher here? They will adjust the forward thrust by adjusting the center of mass higher versus these thrusters. What that all that means is when I'm flying the vehicle and I use both thrusters to go forward, the vehicle will tilt up and I'll need to compensate for that. Let me bring this back real quick. Ooh, I'm having fun. Hold on. I had to do a little loop-de-loop because I have so much fun with that. I have an example of a Carver that won't tilt up, and it was an earlier model, but I've been having a little more fun with these models here. And, oh good, it didn't blow up, because that would have been funny, because it would have probably blown up everything here. Scalable with thrusters. Now, the whole vehicle is supported aloft in the air with really just these two light colored blue thrusters. And as you increase weight and you adjust the balance, you can raise it up to 2 more levels. So yeah, you have the freedom to level it out, add more thrust, and that will scale the amount of weight that you could carry. Okay, the next thing we're going to talk about is the weapon system. Right now it comes standard with 4 potato cannons. Those 4 potato cannons have a fabulous rate of fire, which I'm going to point out this way as I demonstrate them. And as you can see, you could send a lot of potatoes downrange. Now these are 2-tick potato cannons. That means they're each separated by 2 ticks when they fire. But this is also another scalable component. This basically is a clock that Lego Freak helped me build, and each cannon is connected every other block so that when you fire, right? When you fire, you get a nice brrr, bap, 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 bap kind of sound. Now, if you wanted to scale it, all you would need to do is connect a pipe, add another cannon, and do the same thing on the rest of the vehicle, and the vehicle would stay balanced as long as you attach your cannons in about the same position as these other cannons. Oh, let's do this. Let's do that. We'll attach another one there. Now, all you would do is find the connective points. That's a paint. And I know it's a mess right here to see it all at once, but as you're building your own, and I really encourage people to do their own variations of this, because you can mix and match to do so many different things with it. But anyway, instead of every other one, then you would use all 8 of these, a different one for each cannon, and that would create a torrent of potatoes if you have the storage for potatoes on board. So if you really wanted to turn this into a crazy gunship, you could do that. Another thing to keep in mind is when I'm firing though, you'll notice the thrusters kick in, and the thrusters are kicked in by being interfaced here with an XOR gate. That means that I have the thrusters connected to buttons, But before I go to the button, I have the XOR gate as an intermediary because I need to be able to use these thrusters with my buttons 4 to turn left and 5 to turn right. But when I'm firing my cannons, I want the thrusters to act as a dampener so that my vehicle isn't flying backwards. So I've discovered that with 4 forward-facing cannons, just having the thrusters wired in to my clock here, from there to there, as you can see, it is wired into the clock and then to the thrusters. So by only using one tick of each clock from both sides, it's able to cancel out the 4 thrusters. Now at the power level which these thrusters are set, which it is of course maximum thrust. Now with an additional set of cannons, that introduces more weight, which will in turn create more stability for the vehicle. And you may want to add in another 2 ticks just by dragging them in. Now if it's going over your head, don't worry about it. You can ask me plenty of questions in the comments and I'll do my best to explain it as bestest as I can to you. Alright, so we were talking about the scalability of the gunship style weapon systems. Now we're scaling the guns. We also have cargo on here. We also have fuel. If we're starting to dive into the more militaristic aspects of scrap mechanic, oh, but before I do, I don't want to miss this point. A simple control system. Now the control system I'm using, it uses a mouse that's sort of like one of those what is it? It's called, what are those games where you have a bunch of people that do stuff in the game? Man, that's sad that I can't remember it. You can tell I don't play those games, but I have a mouse. Okay, basically the mouse has like a bunch of buttons on the side of it. So I have access to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 easy to reach buttons for my thumb on the left side of my mouse. There's more buttons, but they're like I have to reach further back, and I like those first 6. What those first 6 give me are lights, which is on 3, and then 1 is to tilt forward, 2 is to tilt back, 3 is to turn left, and 4 is to turn right. Now using any of these combinations, I can pull off so many maneuvers. It's pretty crazy. Oh, and not to mention the tilting left and right, as you can see, that adjusts the mass of the vehicle to give me other types of maneuverability. So what does that mean altogether? Okay, so when I press W, my main aloft thrusters kick in. If I press 1 and 2 along with it, it turns on all my thrusters. Right? Now if I just press 1, tilts me forward. If I press 2, tilts me back. If I need some fine tuning to my roll, I can use this to fine tune it. Now if I need an extreme roll while I'm holding 1 and 2 at the same time and I kick it, it'll give me a barrel roll. Alright? And I could also do, of course, a backflip. But the freedom, there's so much freedom in this vehicle. And this isn't loaded with cargo. Once you get it light, let me see if I get back over there without killing myself. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Everybody hold your breath. Alright, I didn't blow myself up. Okay, let me get back up there real quick. This lack of frames is killing me. But I had to go for a little ride just to show you how this can be easy to learn, but really difficult to master flying one of these. But once you get it, and you get all the benefits of this vehicle and all of its utility and its configurations, and it's really worth it. For me, it was definitely worth it. But let me make sure I've covered all my points. It comes, okay. The control system, simple but difficult to master. And the neat thing is, once you grab a hold of one of these, or if you're just building it based off of what you're seeing here, you know what can be done. The last point I want to go on after the control system is you can build it up along the way. And what I mean by build it up along the way is if we strip this thing down to where you almost have nothing but just a fuel tank, right? You don't even need all the thrusters. You don't even need, if you can't find the guns, it's okay. If you can only just get the body of the vehicle together. If you can't even find 4 thrusters, it's okay. The vehicle will, oh my gosh, some of the weight on the back. I have to adjust this a little bit. I think putting it at the back may do it. We'll see. We'll see if that balances it out. If not, still not heavy enough. Let me try tugging it one back. So one of the tricks here is, you'll see what I'm doing. The further you extend the weight back, the more it'll balance it over the center of mass in the middle. So it's kind of like a seesaw that you're working with. You've got the main mass structure and you're just pushing stuff back. Now, for this, I'm just going to keep 2 fuel tanks back here. But if you can't find 2, it's okay. You'll be able to work something out by just adjusting the lengths on the back. So yeah. So you're probably thinking, what if you can't find all of these thrusters? It's okay. You could still make it work without these thrusters. You could be with just 4 thrusters and you'll find a way. Oh my gosh. I might blow up. But you could still get around just like this. Just by babying your main thrusters. Now, what I'm going to do though is I'm going to lower the power if I can land this without totally killing myself. Alright, yay! I didn't kill myself. Let's drop these to about 3 each, and that'll make maneuvering a little better. But you see what the only point I'm trying to make with this is you could just find some pipes, a seat, at least 1 controller, and you could still get around with this skeletal vehicle. So let me bring it up. And let me head back. Oh, this is so exciting. This, I might have to fast forward through some of this. The whole point is it can be done. Now, it may just be easier to build a little car, to be honest with you, at the beginning, and then just take apart the car and the pipes on it and then build this later on. But for the amount of utility this offers, you know, more power to you. Last thing we're going to go over is this guy here. This was the bomber you saw at the beginning. And once again, it's another adaptation of the Carver. And the bomber, oh gosh, it's the bomb. All you do is press your fire button, it'll release, and everything down there is just going to get blown to smithereens, because that's how we were going to wrap it up this video. But once we are in non-bomber mode, this becomes another little tactical vehicle, and we can unload potatoes on so many targets. Now, I've been doing community time with the Carver and been having a blast with so many of my awesome friends. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to let the rest of the video go, share some of that community time with you guys that I had so much fun doing. Keep dreaming, keep building. I was your host, Chief Engineer, reminding you can learn a lot about someone by the things they build. So until next time, adios, adios, amigos. Alright, I'm getting ready. I'm getting ready to drop my payload. Look out. You guys went bonkers, dude.
Oh my goodness, Chief!
I've been practicing my bomb runs, and I've been getting better with my bomber now.
Okay, here's what I pick up battery.
Oh. Look, I'll land my bomber now, and I'll show you how it works.
Chief, watch. It uses spud guns to hack it, right?
Yeah, right. Watch. If you look at this, that's the one where it deployed, but it's still a gunner. So once you deploy your bombs, you could use it as a gunner to clean up the mess. But this one, this is my gas bomber here.
Alright, Chief, I made a weapon.
That's my gas bomber.
I made a weapon.
Gamer. The problem with a gas bomber is it explodes.
Place a wall, Chief. Place a wall.
Alright, let me see what you've been working on. I know you're all very, very talented builders.
Yeah, that is very awesome. I mean, it's a bomb launcher. How cool is that?
Whoa!
Bombs and then it drops the shell like
That is so cool.
Wow.
How long were you working on that?
Look at my high power.
I remember
bomb.
when you
I
remember when you did a revolver version of it. That was really cool.
Oh god, please don't blow up.
Just send me flying way back.